it looks like Sprint decided that it was not worth coming to Quebec. Check out what's happening outside as we film this episode. Welcome back to Brome News. Pardon my turtleneck, but I am frozen. This time of the year, everybody's feeders seem to be overrun by grackles, starlings, and cowbirds. David will talk more about how to deter cowbirds. I have a couple of suggestions as well. Try switching to safflower and Niger seed. These birds don't seem to care for this type of seed. And if you're using our bird feeders for the Squirrel Buster Mini, Standard, and Legacy, remove perches. It's pretty easy. You just pull them out like this. For the Classic, you will have to use a screwdriver to remove the perch, and then for the Plus, of course, you just need to unscrew all the perches. Leave your feeders like this for a while until the birds get with the program. And now, more from David Bird.
You know, it's never easy to simply exclude one or two species of birds from your feeders and still retain all of those species you like to watch. And it's the same for brown-headed cowbirds. Once they've discovered your feeder or feeders, you have to take drastic action. Before getting into the details, let me say that it's generally a good idea not to encourage cowbirds to have easy access to your bird food. By doing so, you basically help them to fatten up and lay more eggs. Why is that bad? Well, first and foremost, it has to do with their nesting habits. You see, cowbirds are a known parasitic species in which they do not make their own nests in which to lay their eggs. Instead, they lay their eggs in other songbirds' nests, which often lead to the eggs or young of the host or victim species being destroyed. At last count, almost 250 North American species have been known to fall victim to the brown-headed cowbird. And one female cowbird can lay as many as 40 eggs in a season, each one in a different nest. Second, cowbirds are known to be real bullies at feeders and usually drive off the other songbirds. So what can you do? First, use a different feeder design. The best are tube feeders with shorter perches or none at all, as well as smaller ports for seed access. Above all, don't use platform feeders. And if that doesn't work, then change your seed. Eliminate cracked corn, sunflower seeds, or millet, and basically offer instead thistle or Niger seed, safflower seed, whole shell peanuts, and or suet. Finally, keep the ground clear from seed spilled from the feeders as best as you can. Note that you can't harm the cowbirds in any way because they, like all native songbirds, are protected by law.
Ron Robinson from Florida has seen a cardinal with scaly white feet, so he's wondering what is going on.
I got an interesting email from Ron Robinson of Gainesville, Florida, who's not only been feeding birds since the 1970s, but also uses his backyard operation to educate hundreds of people about backyard birding. Because he also works with the Smithsonian Institute, he's been able to place leg bands on his feeder birds to track their whereabouts and health. Recently, he noticed that one of his male cardinals had what looked like white feet. Upon closer examination, though, he attributed the color to extreme scaling. Both Ron and I scanned the internet to see if we could find other cases in feeder birds, but we're only able to come up with information on this condition in cage birds. According to avian specialists, scaly leg is most commonly caused by nematocyptes, which are 8-legged microscopic mites that are related to spiders, ticks, and scorpions. They burrow into the feet and legs, and sometimes into the face and anal regions, creating a highly contagious infection looking a lot like a scaly crust. Other symptoms like swollen legs and feet, lameness, and or lesions can appear and eventually lead to the bird's death. Well, these mites are more common in budgies. They can also affect canaries and finches. They apparently don't affect all bird species, and to our knowledge, they have not yet been documented in feeder birds. One other possibility, though, for Ron's cardinal is a condition called calcification, caused by a buildup of calcium salt between the scales of the bird's feet and legs, which creates a dry, flaky appearance. We invite folks with similar experiences to let us know, but meanwhile, practice good hygiene with your feeder operations to minimize all diseases to the birds you love and enjoy.
Well, that was another interesting Brome Bird ID challenge. Thank you, Sue, for all the pictures. There was one bird that a lot of people got wrong. We actually went to Dr. Bird to confirm the identity of this bird. So here we go. These are the 6 birds. The first one is the Altamira oriole. The second one is bay-breasted warbler. Third one is chest-sided warbler. Number 4 is where a lot of people made mistakes. This is a golden-cheeked warbler. Number 5 is American redstart. And number 6 is the least bittern. Now let's check out the winners. It's John Schwind, Deidre McCrary, and Debbie Ball. Congratulations, everybody. We are going to take a break from our Brome Bird ID challenge. We'll be back in a couple of episodes with more pictures from different photographers. It turns out that birds, just like humans, learn a lot of things from their parents. A new study that was done on the famous zebra finches took a bunch of young finches, then they separated them into groups, and then they placed those groups with an adult who had access to differently colored nesting material, and then one of the groups had no adults at all and a bunch of nesting material. Well, surprisingly, the birds that were with the adults started building their own nest using the original home colors. They also built their nest 3 to 4 times faster than the birds that had no adults around. So looking at this study and then also the studies that we talked about when birds learn their songs from adults, it seems like being a parent and an adult in the avian world is a lot of work and a lot of responsibility. When you think of flamingos, which part of the world comes to your mind? Well, South America, the Caribbean, Florida, certainly not Albania. But believe it or not, parts of its coast is a breeding ground for flamingos. Albania is a small, mountainous, really beautiful country just north of Greece. So before the whole pandemic, it was becoming quite popular with tourists to the point that conservationists started to worry about flamingos losing their breeding grounds, losing their habitat. And now with all the lockdown, the flamingos have been left alone. More and more of them have shown up to breed this year. So conservationists are hoping that they can secure those breeding grounds for the flamingos in the future after everything goes back to normal. Canada's oil sands have always been such a controversial topic, and recently with less demand for oil, they've been in the news quite a bit. It was really shocking and disappointing to hear that last week Alberta's government decided to suspend all environmental monitoring of the oil sands, stating that it was a public health concern to have so many people around monitoring the environment during the COVID-19 pandemic. I know that there are a bunch of oil companies over there. They've been trying to get rid of this type of monitoring for years. So to me, this sounds more like a financial decision rather than a health one. So basically, this means that it's an environmental free-for-all. No one's watching what's happening to the water, what's happening to the air, and all the measures to keep the birds off those toxic sites have also been removed. So since that ruling, already 50 dead birds were found in a tailings pond. I just hope that this won't last for too long. New World sparrows. They're not the easiest to identify, especially when you get the ones that are basically all brown. But they're so beautiful. I've just had a white-crowned sparrow around my bird feeders. Anyway, let's check out the top 5. Here's the 3rd place, the 2nd place, and the grand prize winner. Congratulations, everybody! Next month is slightly different. For years, we've been asked to run a drawing contest, so we thought we would do it on our photo contest. So if you like to draw, paint birds, or if you have kids who like to do that, please enter all your artwork into our June photo contest. We will judge kids and adults separately. It's time to say goodbye. Please don't forget to identify the birds in the drawings that you submit to our photo contest. And if you want to be one of the judges, please write to me to Tatiana@bromebirdcare.com. Take care, everyone.